Here we are. Here we are on WGNW 95.7 The Choice, and we are actually have an in-studio guest with us here. It's a fantastic opportunity for us to be able to learn a little bit more about Jacob Hudson. And Jacob Hudson is an artist that is currently on a tour right now. And I thought we would just sort of start a little bit with who you are, kind of where'd you come from, and what kind of music are you playing?
Well, it's a lot of times it's considered sad music, but my name's Jacob Hudson. Obviously, I've only been playing music actually for maybe a year and a half because I was in a long distance relationship that went south. So I wrote an EP about it, and it was all done in my closet, so it was very low quality. But then again, everyone says it's not about the quality; it's about the what it is.
Yeah, making a connection with somebody.
Exactly, and I try to pride myself on emotional compatibility, which is what I like to make my songs about.
Emotional compatibility. That's an interesting topic.
I'd found it on Wikipedia. No. But so basically, all my songs aren't very much of that like, "Hey, you'll get better" kind of style. They're more of the this is really terrible kind of style. And then people relate to that because when I went through that emotional stress, I listened to music that at the same time had that. It connected with me because I was like, oh, I can understand what that artist is saying exactly. And I feel that a lot of music doesn't do that these days. They're trying to encourage people, which is absolutely a fantastic thing, and I'm all for that. But I think sometimes music needs to be able to respond to what people are feeling at the time.
Somewhat therapeutic.
Yeah.
So if you just sort of said that there were some artists that you've listened to that influenced a little bit of your style, who would they be?
A man named Sufjan Stevens, who is a folk artist who actually has a wide range of genre that he plays, but as well as William Fitzsimmons, and a plethora of artists actually that all are in that genre of singer-songwriter, sad folk music. But not all of my stuff is sad, obviously, but just a lot of it's there's different times in my life. I'm very much of a what's the word? The emotions that I feel at the time are the ones that I play with.
Okay.
Like if I'm feeling a song where I'm feeling like I'm very happy at that time and I wish people could feel the same way, I'll write a song that is in that encouraging style that I talked about. I sometimes hate. So it depends on where I am musically and emotionally on how my songs come out and then what I play for them. So sometimes it's also really hard to play a song because I'll be like, I really don't feel playing this happy song right now. I'm feeling terrible. Or I'll be sitting there and I'm like, this song's really sad and no one's going to want to hear this.
Sure.
But, yeah.
So do you set aside time on a daily basis to write? Do you just sort of write when it comes to you? How does that work for you?
It comes to me in random times. For instance, the best writing place I have is my garage. I'll be out feeding the dogs and then I'll get a song lyric in my head and it'll take me an hour and a half to feed the dogs because I'm out in the garage, writing a song that I had no idea was coming. But then again, like last night I stayed at a beautiful cabin out in Tennessee and no songs came to me and I was really frustrated about it. So I guess it just comes on me at random times, which I feel like I'm really blessed with, but at the same time it also occurs because people will be like, hey, we should write a song together, and I walk in and nothing comes out because I have nothing on my heart right now.
It's hard to write a song when it's like a writer's block, right? It's just sort of this blank.
Well, I don't want to write a song that's cheesy and generic.
Manufactured, maybe.
Exactly. I don't want to have, oh, this is a really good sounding lyric. I want to make sure that it's something that I genuinely feel. Because if I'm going to put something out there, it needs to be Jacob Hudson, not a good sounding song that I wrote.
Right. So how many different songs have you written?
I think total around 15. There was only 8 on my EP, which the EP was actually an autobiographical record. So
okay.
It went from beginning to end of our long distance relationship, in which included 8 songs, which although one was instrumental, everyone kind of got the point. So I'm actually going to be trying to track a new album within the next year, hopefully, if I can get the funds up for it. Which actually is why we're doing this tour in the first place, is to get a little more notice about it and try to spread our music around so the next time we do a fundraising event for it, people will actually know about it.
That's great. So you just talked about the tour. Tell us a little bit about the tour.
The tour was a very sporadic and idiotic decision I made. I had friends in North Dakota, oddly enough. Or not friends, fans. They had found my music and they loved it. And they said, you should really come to North Dakota because it's terrible here. And we would love your music. So I had that weird thought. I'm like, well, I could probably do this if I really tried. And so I mapped out like 7 shows that went through Nashville, St. Louis, Chicago, all these big cities. And then slowly but surely the tour shifted in shape and turned into this kind of hodgepodge tour of like small coffee shops and little places that have actually been 10 times better than I could ever hope for, because it's been just to meet people in those smaller environments, because I was first looking for those big venues, you know, that hold
Sure.
200 people and try to get on big ticket shows. But I found that playing those places where we played a coffee shop in Norfolk 2 nights ago. Yeah, 2 nights ago. And there was maybe 10 people in there, but they all loved it, and they all came and talked to us afterwards, and it was like the connections we made out of those shows was better than anything else I could have ever asked for.
That's great.
But
That's great. So when you're playing these small venues, we're gonna play one of your songs here real quick. But when you're playing these small venues, of the couple dozen songs that you have, are you playing through all of them, or are you playing through just the ones that you are struck with at the moment? How does that work for you?
it's actually, you just hit the nail on the head. I never realized it before. Yeah, I have a core set list of songs that I know are people say are the catchiest out of my songs, and there are songs that are better than others, obviously.
Sure.
But for instance, at the place we played in Norfolk, I was supposed to play a 6-song set, and I ended up playing 12 because I felt the need to. I saw the audience, and I said, okay, I think they want to hear this song, and
Yeah.
they did. But I have my core set list, which I map out, which a lot of times kind of balances my happy and sad songs. I don't want to get people too depressed inside of a venue. Then again,
Sure.
also not too happy. Which is terrible of me to do. I'm a terrible person. So I try to balance it out, as well as also bring in because I do have some songs that are less insightful and they're more just emotionally raw, whereas some are more in depth with their lyrics and go
Sure.
into a deeper calling.
That's great.
But so my set list itself is liquid and moves
Sure.
around.
Yeah, no, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, what are you going to play for us now?
This is a song I wrote called "Perks," about, I want to say in April. It's about being an introvert, actually,
Okay.
which people say, oh, I can relate to that. But then again, I think there's this idea and this image that an introvert's somebody that's emotionally dry, like they have no emotions to them. But I think it's the opposite. And I actually got inspired by them. There's a movie out there called Perks of Being a Wallflower, as well as a book called Perks of Being a Wallflower. And it talks about that and how there's people that, although they feel emotional, they're not necessarily going to express it because it's harder for them to release those emotions. So that was a song that just talked about the struggles of doing that for myself.
That's great. Well,
So-
let's hear it.
Alrighty.
I was just a child who built walls 'cause I was quicker than the rest. Emotions hurt my chest. My heart grew too quickly, 'cause everyone around me said I need to wait. I'm too young to feel this way. Though the longer that I waited, the introvert I hated took control of me. Now I am what you see. marks of this condition is the love which we've been given to share with those of life. But I'm afraid to go outside, so I'll bury my own secrets in the boards beneath my feet and pray they never be found. God, I hope it's solid ground. Because then I'll sail far from home. I'll sail far from home. I'll sail far from home. Yes, I'll sail far from home. 'Cause home is where the heart is.
That was great.
Thank you. Not too bad for the first singing in the morning. I actually didn't practice at all, which I was really stressed about. I was like, oh, this is not going to be good.
No, that's great.
Thank you.
So, Jacob Hudson, if others want to get more of your stuff, they want to hear you, they want to see you, how do they do that?
They can go to my website, which I just created myself, so don't judge me. It's jacobhudsonmusic.com. So it's really easy to remember, and I'm sure if you Google it, hopefully what I paid for will make it go to the top of the search engine, because no one's going to look for me. Yeah, they can go to there, or they can go on Facebook and like the Facebook page, and my music's on Spotify, iTunes, and actually what I'm trying to stress right now is that it's also available on noisetrade.com/JacobHudsonMusic.
Okay.
Or Jacob Hudson, actually, I think it is. Because there they can get the whole album for free, and also 2 demos that you can't get anywhere else that are off my new album. I'm really just trying to get my music out there, because if people like it, I want them to hear it.
Sure.
I don't want to get money for it. So,
That's great.
but yeah, if they want to buy it, it's on iTunes or Amazon or all that. But if they really just want to hear it, then they're more than welcome to go download it on Noise Trade for free.
That's great.
So-
That's great. Well, thanks for sharing your passion with
Absolutely.
us.
Thank you so much for listening to my stuff.
No problem. No problem. You have been listening to an interview with Jacob Hudson on 95.7 The Choice, WGNW.